think they refer to it as a Jackson Law,
colloquially. In good faith, that law would have been okay if he was convicted. All these cases, in spite of settlements, there was no conviction. It was just, one word against the other.
Well, and the truth of the matter is that when you look at who all was given a settlement and what boys actually said something happened, it was the children of the housekeepers, okay? And these children, these housekeepers, were also found out to be people, some of whom were found out to be people who were looking for Jackson's money in other ways. They were looking for payouts. They were looking for whatever they could get out of the association with Michael Jackson. They even, a bunch of employees, disgruntled when they got fired for other reasons, banded together and tried to and sued Michael Jackson for wrongful firing, okay? And guess what? Jackson won that case. So, and that's years before this other. But some of these people were the same people who got up and testified, oh, we saw this and we saw that. Well, they had access to grind, and frankly, anything they said wasn't credible. So you have, one of the things I think at the bottom of all of this, truthfully, Jordan, is if any boy has been honestly, truly sexually molested, forget about the number of kids that a pedophile goes after, why is it that we never heard that there was any sexual penetration with any of these kids? Why is it that we never heard that there was any rape of any of these kids? Why is it that we never heard, why is it that Evan Chandler killed himself? Why is it, there's so many other issues that surround this that really make you start to wonder. Did Michael Jackson have maybe an asexual personality? Did he like to be around children, and perhaps because somehow he thought of himself as an adolescent boy, that's who he hung around with? Yes. But was he raping and molesting these boys? There's no evidence of that whatsoever. And nobody ever even accused him of anything like that. The most anyone accused him of was tickling them. So, it really is a very sad state of affairs for Jackson to have lived his life in such a way at the end of his life where that trial in Santa Maria basically destroyed his sense of well-being, because he saw so many people who worked for him turn against him. Bob Jones, who was a big part of Michael's life, turned against him at trial. Debbie Rowe, who was obviously a big part of Michael's life, turned against him at trial. So many people got up and said things that were disparaging, and yet without proof and not anything specific, but still to have to sit and watch your life on trial, knowing that it's a possibility that you will be imprisoned for something that you didn't do? I can't fathom this, how he withstood it. I don't think I could have withstood it.
So, unlike Casey Anthony, you in your heart, forget about not guilty. You think, to this day, Michael Jackson, with Gavin Overfield, is 100% innocent, right?
100,000% innocent. There is not a doubt in my mind. I would swear on a stack of Bibles. I would be. Listen, I wrote a book about it. Proving what was proven in the courtroom, why that jury came to that decision. I have not one shred of doubt. And when I looked at that police tape, and as I said, I put a small bit of it in a clip that I did where I interviewed Tom Mesereau and the jury foreman, and within that clip, there's a minute or two of tape of that actual police interview, and you see that kid squirming, and you see that body language, and you realize that kid's not telling the truth.
Oh, totally. And how do your contemporaries feel, i.e. Nancy Grace, Diane Diamond? You did pick the book out back in '07. So, like, did Diane ever pull you aside and say, "Listen, honey, this is how it really went. Don't fall into the trap." Anything like that?
I don't. That really didn't happen. One of the things after Jackson was acquitted is that most of the media just dropped the case and went on to the next story, which I found pretty horrific. The fact that they had basically done a public lynching and then decided, oh, well, he got found not guilty. Who knows why? Let's just move on. But in terms of any of my colleagues coming and questioning me about the guilt or innocence of Michael Jackson after I wrote the book, nobody has, because they know that the truth is they listened to that same evidence, and they know that there was no real evidence that this kid was molested by Michael. It's not something that's really debatable. And the only person I know of that has this axe to grind still is Diane Diamond, who was in cahoots with Tom Sneddon. If you recall, she's the only person who was allowed on the property of Neverland when the raid was going on and took footage of that. So, I mean, in my opinion, that means she was in cahoots with Sneddon all along, driving that train of guilty before proven innocent. And, that woman happened to be at the Sandusky trial, Diane Diamond, and tried to get in my face, not to talk to me, because I don't think she really knows what to say to me, frankly. I honestly mean that. I mean, she tried to get near me and talk to people around me just to, to overhear what I was saying, or I'm really not sure. But I can tell you that she certainly hasn't won points with anyone, in my opinion, in the media world, because she was so wrong in her assessment of what would be the outcome of that trial. And
it almost seems like she would be married to Somstead. It's almost like she was like property, if Michael was convicted. It just seemed like she just, with a passion. When you describe
now this is rumor, but the rumor that I heard was that she had made some kind of a deal that she would have been the first in and the first allowed to get photographs, of Michael in prison. Now, whether that's true, that could be a complete rumor. I don't know, but I could see it as a possibility that she would have been given a favor. We know she was given the favor of being allowed onto Neverland during a raid when no other journalist was. So she was secretly writing that book while all the other journalists were busy covering the trial. During the trial, I think she thought she was going to be the biggest star in the universe when Jackson was convicted. Without a doubt in my mind, that is what she thought. And, so she was feathering her own nest by feeding everybody these tidbits of information, leading to people to only look at the ways that Michael Jackson could have been guilty when that was all hogwash.